Yo guys, it's Kyle coming at you from Bane's Film Reviews. I just saw F1, directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Brad Pitt and Damson Idris. F1, as the title would tell you, is about Formula One racing, and I'm not really into racing cars. It's not really a thing that I've ever been interested in, but this film looked pretty interesting, so I got my ticket, sat down in the theater, and was in for an incredible ride. This film follows Pitt and Idris's characters, one being a rookie, one being a seasoned veteran that has not raced in a long, long time, paralleling their stories and juxtaposing their stories throughout as they're trying to sort of save one of these Formula One teams. This film is one of the most expensive films ever made. They anticipate that with marketing expenses that this film costs around $600 million to make, meaning it needs to make $600 million in order to break even. That's a tall task. That's incredibly difficult, especially when you are not one of these blockbuster franchises. Like, even Marvel is struggling to break even. Thunderbolts took a huge hit a few months ago. This has a lot of work to do in order to be able to make up for the money spent. However, I feel that just based on the product that I saw, it was worth every penny spent. All right, maybe you don't need to market it heavy. Maybe that's where they spend a little much, because it seems like they spend a little over $200 million on marketing alone. This film is fantastic. It is fast. It is fast because you are often in the driver's seat of these Formula One cars, and it is paced very, very effectively. This is a 2.5 hour film, and this is the fastest 2.5 hour film that I have ever seen in my entire life. This absolutely flew by. I was never bored. I was never waiting for this film to end. It just moved along at a really, really effective rate, and I thought that it works really, really well for this film. It sort of mirrors, the speed of the cars, but also is absolutely necessary when you have a film that is 2 hours, or 2 hours and 35 minutes. It's slightly over 2.5 hours. You need that. You need it to be paced effectively in order for people to remain in seats and not be bored. Hans Zimmer creates an original score for this film. If you know anything at all about film, you know that Hans Zimmer is an absolute stud in creating just breathtaking scores, and he is successful here once again. Heavy bass really guides this film, particularly during those racing scenes, which there are a lot. And I anticipate that's where a lot of the budget went, was those scenes in particular, because they're using actual Formula One racing cars. But that score mirrors what these characters would be feeling at the time, and while they don't always echo a heartbeat perfectly, what they do is echo that sentiment, and it works really, really well to drive this film, to build suspense, to heighten the intensity of this film from start to finish. That intensity never lacks, and Zimmer's score is a huge part of that. Additionally, sound design in general is spectacular, and then the soundtrack, amazing. Another place that they spend some money. Original songs by Doja Cat, by Ed Sheeran, made specifically for this film, and they're fun. They are songs that I'm going to download as soon as I get back home. I thoroughly enjoyed them. And as always, we have some really stellar acting. I mentioned our two leads, our Brad Pitt and our Damson Idris, but we also have, I'm drawing a blank on her first name, Kerry Condon, thank you. Kerry Condon and Javier Bardem. Also amazing actors, and they just absolutely slay here. They do a fantastic job of working off of one another, of acting and reacting, and playing a really spectacular job in their respective roles. I think this film is gorgeous to look at. You are able to get a sense of just how big this is as we travel the world. It seems like a lot of this was filmed on location, which again adds to the budget. I keep bringing up this budget, but $600 million is a fuck ton of money to spend on a film, and I think it it has to be mentioned again and again. Being filmed on location, we get a sense of how big this sport is worldwide. Maybe not here in the United States so much, but it has a spectacularly large following on a global scale. And the cinematography allows that to come through, allows that to be fully realized by viewers. I was immersed in this film. I felt like I was in the driver's seat. I want to drive 500 miles an hour down the highway right now. I won't do that. Don't come find me. I will never do that. It's just a really, really fun film. It's paced really, really well. Interestingly enough, I don't think it's a film that I'm going to watch again. I don't know if I'll get that same adrenaline rush rewatching this film, because I know what happens. And even though the film was a bit predictable anyway, it's a pretty standard formula for, any sort of drama, sport, even, sports related or not. But I don't think that I would get that same rush and I'd be missing something the second viewing. But this is a really, really good film. And I'm going to give F1 an 8.5 out of 10. I think that in order for it to make that money back, it's going to need to sell seats in those RPX theaters, in those 4D theaters, in those ones where, I don't know what they're called, where your seats move around. And I hope that people go do that. I didn't see that. I saw with some standard reclining chairs at my local theater. And I think that I'm probably missing some of the experience. But again, this is a really, really good film. F1 is an 8.5 out of 10. It's everything that you could hope it would be. And I really do encourage you guys to go watch this. And yeah, until next time, peace.